Welcome to the Uncensored Self podcast. I am your host, Ryan Gillen, and this is a space where women who value achievement, success, accomplishment, and wealth, but also crave happiness, love, joy, and deep fulfillment come to remember that we get to have both. Not by doing more, but by being more of who we truly are. In this show, we explore identity, energy, alignment, and embodiment because you didn't come here to follow someone else's rules. You came to right your own. Let's dive in.
Hello. We are celebrating today the first 12 months of the Uncensored Self. The Uncensored Self was born on December 1st, 2024. So we quite literally just passed our first 12 months. And today I want to share with you the 6 lessons I've learned in the first year of the Uncensored Self. I want to celebrate with you. I want to celebrate me. I want to celebrate you. I want to celebrate the magic that have been the last 12 months. But I would be remiss if I didn't start this conversation with a thank you, because the last 12 months would not have been possible without you, the amazing women that I wake up every single day with a desire to serve, with a desire to connect with a desire to build an entirely different way of doing business, of doing life. Like that's what I just thank you. Thank you for being here. I'm just so grateful. So I'm going to dive in. I have some notes because y'all know otherwise I will go rogue. So I want to start with kind of lesson number 1, right? Lesson number 1 is it's not going to look the way that you think it's going to look, right? Whatever it is that you are building, whether it is a business, whether it is a real estate business, a mortgage business, you're an entrepreneur, you're a small business owner, you're running an agency, you have a corporate career. I don't care what it is not going to look the thing that you think that you want. It's not going to look the way that you think it will look. And the reason why I share this with you is because it's that time of year where like everybody's in planning mode. Even like I'm leading a 2026 planning session with my clients this month too. But the thing that we will be talking about that's probably different than a lot of annual planning than you're used to, at least that I knew I was used to, is that it was about goals and spreadsheets and projections and numbers and performance and all those different things. But your plan, it's great, but it's probably not going to look exactly the way that you plan. So what's the point of planning if it's not going to look that way, right? The point of planning is it gets you locked in. Like the reason why I love planning is because it locks you in on a vision. But what's really important when you play the energy game, when you do this work the way that I do it, is that the plan is just one way. And we're always open to possibility. We're always open to this or something better, right? We're always open to, there's a million different ways, but I can really lock in on achieving this way. For you, think of building the plan. For me, the way that I think of building the plan is this is just one possibility. But if I know there's one possibility, then I know that there's all sorts of possibilities. So when we plan in my world, right, it's not that we don't pay attention to things like numbers and goals and spreadsheets and all those different things, but we also know that money and opportunities almost never come the way that we think they will. So we really want to plan more energetically versus than in rigid structure, right? So when we think of planning, or when I think of planning, and I think I did a little bit of this year, to be really honest with you, but planning is really about holding the vision. So when you write your plan for 2026, you're not necessarily writing, I'm going to get 5 clients in January and 8 clients in February and 12 clients in March, and the numbers are going to look this way and it's going to shake out this way. More of what you're planning, at least for me, is holding the vision. What is the vision of next year? How do I want next year to feel? I talked a little bit about this in last week's episode when I was talking about start now, right? But the reason why I tell you this is when we get locked in on a feeling, on a frequency, on a vision, on something that we're bringing to life, we're more open to ideas and possibilities. I literally just coached a new client on this the other day, right? When you need things to happen the way that you plan for them to happen, and they're not happening that way, it's instantly reducing resistance. It's instantly reducing friction. So being open to the idea that this is one path of which this could happen, but there's also a million other paths. So that is one thing that I just has shown up for me over and over and over again this year. It will never look the way that you think it will. When I literally, and the reason why I'm going to tell you something that like anchors this in a really factual, practical way. When I launched this brand in December of 2024, the Uncensored Self was a 6-module, 6-week one-on-one program. And it was the only program that I had, right? And that's how I launched it. And now I don't even really sell that program anymore. I do things very differently. And business therapy has been my biggest program. Right? My biggest as far as numbers, my biggest as far as revenue. So again, December 1st, I had the plan that I was going to build like the Uncensored Self and the way that that curriculum showed up and the way that I downloaded that and brought that in, thinking that that was the way that I was going to build the company. And then I get the intuitive idea, business therapy, and then it takes off like wildfire and people are loving it and we're changing people's lives inside of this program. And so then, I'm just following the nudges. I'm just following the inspiration. But the vision was that I want to connect with as many smart, powerful women as possible and give them back to themselves, give them back them lives, help them feel alive, help them have careers and businesses that they love. That's the vision. There's a million different ways that I can do that. And so for you, I want you, when you're thinking about planning for 2026, is plan the vision. Whatever you write down, those projections, those numbers, that's one possibility. This is one way that your very smart, very brilliant mind can lock in and get excited about next year, but you're also open to the intuition. You're also open to the magic. You're also open to something different. And I think that energy will really, really surprise you. I think the second lesson that I've learned, and this is probably not going to surprise any of you, is that you have to be obsessed with how it feels. For me, every decision I made in the last 12 months was, how does this feel? Does it feel good in my body? Does it feel aligned? Does it light me up? Is it lined up to every single day I wake up and I write in my journal, I am the one building a multi-million-dollar business doing only things that I love. Like, that is my commitment to myself. That is the vision that I am locking into every single day. So in order to do that, I have to be obsessed with how it feels, not what makes sense, not what's the smartest, not whatever, right? Being obsessed with how whatever you are doing is feeling, like your body is talking to you. Your emotions are guidance. I talk about this a lot with my clients. Feelings are guidance. So the way that you feel when you do something is guidance from God, source, the universe, whatever it is that you believe in, right? And so like this year, my body never once lied to me. Anytime I said yes when my body wanted to say no, it did not go the way that I wanted it to. Anytime that I made decisions based in fear, it didn't go the way that I wanted it to. Anytime I made a decision based on maybe this might possibly work out because so-and-so did it this way, it didn't work out. Right? Be obsessed with how it feels. If it doesn't feel good, it's trying to get your attention. Okay? And the more alive that I feel, the more excited that I feel when I do things, when I create things, when I connect with clients, the better the business runs, right? I would be remiss if I did not take a moment and talk about it. There is a difference between stretching yourself and self-abandoning. So when I say don't do anything you don't want to do, or be obsessed with how it feels, sometimes it does feel scary, right? Sometimes you are stretching yourself in a really powerful and important way. Yes. Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this feels off. I don't want to do this. I'm doing this out of obligation. That's the stuff that we don't tolerate. If that discomfort is I am pushing myself outside of my comfort zone, I am doing the thing that I said I would do, and that feels like I'm stretching myself, that's the fucking point, right? Like, we want to stand on the edge and feel that feeling. So there is stretching and there is self-abandoning, and I believe you know the difference, right? But you really have to know, if it doesn't feel good, it's not for you. And there are so many, again, I can only imagine if somebody had said this to me 5 years ago. If somebody had said to me, Ryan, if it doesn't feel good, don't do it, because like how it felt didn't fucking matter to me ever. Right? And again, very clear, there's a big difference between, we need to eat our vegetables and we have to feed the baby. And I fucking hate doing this, but I'm forcing myself to do it in the name of a result. Those are two different things. But really locking in on that, because again, anything that I did that came out of should or obligation or somebody else's idea, whether or not it really yielded results doesn't really matter. Really had more to do with, did it feel good? Did it feel aligned? Is it aligned with that mission that I write down every day, doing only things that I love? So for me, every single decision has made with, how does it feel? How does this feel? Does this feel aligned? Does this feel exciting? Does this give me energy, or does this take energy away from me? Does this excite me to step into this space and think about it this way, or does it drain me? Do I feel open, or do I feel restricted, right? That I think is really, really, like, as you're planning for 2026, be fucking obsessed with how it feels. The third lesson that I learned in the last 12 months is that the rules are motherfucking made up. The rules are motherfucking made up, and you know that I feel this way. I talk about this often. It's an entire module in business therapy, right? But everything that you were taught about how business must work is bullshit. And I proved that over and over and over again this year. I broke every single motherfucking rule. I've had multiple offers. I've jumped around from platform to platform. I've done completely nonlinear, made up fucking launches, not one perfect strategy that I have executed on for 12 months and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And it still motherfucking worked. People still bought my stuff. People still followed me on social media. My business still grew. My clients still got incredible fucking results, because your energy is the strategy. My energy is the strategy. My energy is the strategy. Connecting back to like the idea of what would light me up, right? And again, guys, there's so much of this when you again look, and anytime you're planning, I hope you guys do this, because this is actually one of the first things we do when we plan for 2026 or for the next year, is we look back. we do a lot of reflecting. And so when I look at reflecting over the last 12 months, right, it's really locking into, what worked, what didn't work. Like I do ask myself those questions, but it's like the things that worked, again, were the things that were exciting, the things that were fun, the things that lit me up, the things that felt really intuitive, right? Anytime I tried to think my way into a strategy, anytime I tried to figure something out, anytime I tried to, put myself in somebody else's box, it just didn't flow. It didn't flow. And playing the energy game and really being locked in and being the creator of your reality is about flow. It is about things that feel good. So any of the rules, and might be a great thing to add when you're thinking about planning, and I know that we'll be discussing this with my clients, is what are the rules that you've been following that you're ready to let go of, right? What rule have you been following in your end? I'm going to give you a very specific example because I was chatting with a new client the other day, and she was telling me about how she just had to get on social media. She said, everybody in my industry is on social media. I just have to get on social media. She doesn't like social media. It's not really like any part of what she wants to build in her business doesn't really justify her having this giant social media presence. Like the only reason she is doing it is because her industry has told her that the only way to be successful is to do this thing. And I was like, what if that's not true? Like what you're doing right now is working. Why don't you just do more of what's working? And like, you should have seen the light bulbs go off in her head where she was like, yeah, what I am doing is working. Why don't I just do more of what's working instead of trying to force yourself into somebody else's rules, because the rules are motherfucking made up. And again, that might not be true for you. You might come to me and you might give me a very different story than this woman did. And you might tell me very differently what you wanted, what you wanted and what was important to you and whatever. And I might tell you, okay, well, we do have to work through this. Like we are going to have to line up with showing up on social media. So the answer might not always be don't do the thing, but it's like, we got to get lined up in the thing because the rules are made up and everything comes back to what do I want? What do I want it to look like? What do I like? It also goes back to being obsessed with what it feels like. Following a rule that doesn't feel good to follow isn't going to feel good. And so these things are all tied together. But as I think about 2026 and the way that I'm planning and the way that I have my clients planning, it's really about what rules do you create for yourself? Because in addition to the things that I write down every day about, but, I'm building a multi-million-dollar business doing only things I love. I also write down my rules, the ones that I follow, because I'm the creator of my reality, right? And so that has just been so confirmed this year, and it just excites the bejesus out of me when I think about moving forward, okay? There are so few rules in business, except for the ones you choose. Mark my words, okay? Lesson four that I learned this year is that momentum matters more than results. Momentum matters more than results. And I know that sounds a little crazy, but let's talk about it. Okay. I have found that you and I, people like you and I, we're good at what we do, right? We've achieved some level of success based on the external world's, definition of success. But it's also made us very impatient with success. When you have been successful once, when you have achieved once, when you have got that taste of like, I'm a fucking badass, you become real impatient and you want it all of the time, right? You constantly want that success. You constantly want to be winning. And so what winds up happening is when you start something new, like I did 12 months ago, you expect results immediately, right? I was used to being successful. I was used to winning. I was used to launching things and people like, oh my God, yes, here's all my money, and that didn't happen right away. When they didn't pop immediately, like there were moments earlier this year where I did experience a lot of impatience in the results, right? Impatience and why does this not look exactly the way that I need, want, desire for it to look? Instead of anchoring into momentum is compounding energy. Momentum is this thing is starting to get traction and this is starting to get traction and it starts to build in this really beautiful compounded way. And it also made it really, really clear to me that the reason why so many things that I've tried over the past handful of years, like I forgot this part. Momentum matters. Like you have to build momentum. It's the whole concept of like a plane uses, I don't know, some bananas percentage. Like I think it's over half of the fuel. I don't know. Don't quote me. But the plane uses more fuel to take off than it does to fly across the country. Right. And that momentum, like literally thinking if you've been on a plane, you go on a runway, you start to go faster and faster and faster, right? You get pushed into your seat and then you take off. And then all of a sudden you feel weightless again. Right? Most of us, at least for me in the past, I tend to take my foot off the gas. As soon as we start moving fast, if we don't take lift off right away, I'm like, what the fuck? It's broken. I must be doing it wrong. Stop. Wait, I'm on the wrong plane. Like the number of times that I kept starting over and over and over and over and over again is because I was looking for results instead of momentum. And this year, locking into this is what I'm building and this is what I'm doing. And I'm building a multi-million-dollar business doing only things that I love and documenting that I had to learn that momentum matters more than results, because when you hold on to the momentum, right? Once it does take off, once you do, then you're weightless again. So often, because we are impatient and we are smart and typically things go really well for us, we get impatient. But we have to remember that like it doesn't matter how many times you have gotten on an airplane, every single time that airplane has to take off. Every single time it has to build that momentum before it can fly. It doesn't matter if you get on an airplane every day, you're going to have that experience, right? Every time you start over, you're going to have that experience. And so pushing through the discomfort of that impatience and really being able to trust when you can't see results has been so powerful for me. And I just I feel so locked in because of this, because of the momentum that I'm feeling. And it's just really, really, really exciting. Okay. Lesson 5 I've learned this year. You are never done doing the work. I am never done doing the work. The work is never over. There is no finish line. There is no evolution, right? There is no time where all of a sudden you're not going to think negative thoughts, right? That you're not going to slip into old habits, right? Like those things are going to happen. This is an ongoing thing. Like it's almost, the way that I've talked about this in the past is like this work is a lifestyle, right? When you choose to work in universal law, when you choose to really understand who you are and how you create, like for me, it very much feels like a lifestyle. Like I am constantly every single day waking up and doing the work to tune in, right? To become the best version of myself, to become the woman who the results that I desire are inevitable. I have to do that work every single day. And I believe I will do that work every single day because I think the only time we're done doing the work is when we're dead, right? The only time you're going to stop wanting more out of life is when you're dead. The only time you're going to want to stop getting better is when you're dead. I truly, truly, truly believe that in our heart of hearts. I think that our souls are here for expansion, right? Bob Proctor says it all the time. Spirit is for expansion. We are meant to grow. We are meant to evolve. The work is never done. There is no arrival. And this year was such a beautiful representation of that for me because I found myself multiple times, again, slipping into impatience, right? Getting into lack, slipping into my masculine energy. There was a season this fall where we were really busy with baseball and the kids' sports. Davis was playing volleyball. I was coaching. Derek was coaching baseball with Davis. G was playing football. Like Derek got a promotion. There was just a really busy season this fall. And I slipped right back into my masculine energy. I slipped right back into that role in my relationship. I started to try to control things in the business and it wreaked havoc in both places, right? Like there was a little bit of a few stagnant months in a row in the business this fall. There was some stuff that Derek and I had to work through this fall. Because sometimes it's the work happens every single day. Like you don't just master something, you continue to master it every single day. And because our big, beautiful brains work the way they work, we get so easily triggered. And so if you're not doing the work every single day, you are going to slip into old habits. And there's so much power in knowing that and being okay with it, right? For many years in my journey, I think that every time I would get triggered over the same thing that I thought I had worked through, I would get frustrated or I would tell myself I was doing it wrong or I would overthink it, right? Instead of just being like, this is just a trigger because I'm growing, right? Like this is part of the process. I'm always going to have to intentionally choose the path that I desire because universal law is real and the law of vibration is real and the law of attraction is real. And if I let myself get pulled into negativity, lack, limitation, masculine energy, overdoing, proving, it's really easy to get wrapped up. And it's just because you're human having a human experience, not because you're a fucking idiot who can't figure things out. You're always doing the work. Every day it is a conscious choice. Do I want to consciously choose to become the person that makes the life that I want inevitable? Or do I want to coast with the rest of the world? And I tell this to you because A, to make you feel better, but also if you're expecting in working with me that I have all my shit together and I don't have bad days and I don't get triggered, I hate to disappoint you, but that's simply untrue, right? I just know how to use my tools. I tell my clients this all the time. I just recover faster. I just have more tools, right? I'm just more practiced, but I'm never done because every day I get up and every day I do the work and every day I work towards that vision that I want, right? This work isn't something you graduate from. It's something you live. And this year was just so much proof of that, right? And then the final lesson, and maybe the most important lesson that I don't know if I learned that this year or I just really anchored in this year, but stop fucking chasing the Eiffel Tower moment. Like, holy cow, was this year such a representation of not fucking chasing the Eiffel Tower moment. The life that I have said that I have wanted for years is already here. I have an incredible fucking life. And chasing more money or more clients or more followers or whatever I thought that I was chasing all of those years That was never fucking it. The Eiffel Tower moments are beautiful and incredible. And when I say Eiffel Tower moments, what I mean by that is the big moments, right? Like the big thing that you're working towards when you're working towards a really big goal. Maybe it is a trip to Paris, right? Maybe it is the trip of a lifetime, your dream home, the car that's been on your vision board for a decade. Like those are amazing things. And I want that for you. I want that for me. I want that for every single one of my clients. But when those are the only things that you're focused on, it makes the rest of your life seem kind of mundane. And this year for me, the biggest lesson was like finding the beauty in the mundane, right? Instead of the addiction to the big milestones and the big achievements and the big highs. Because let's not kid, every time you hit that high, you crash anyway. At least for me, I never actually enjoyed those moments. Most of the time I couldn't hold the moments. I couldn't hold the moments. Right? I would run as hard, as fast as I could to this giant goal. Like that's literally what happened when I had a $2 million year and it all fell apart because I couldn't hold it. Right? This year, I realized that while the Eiffel Tower moments are beautiful and incredible, and I'm always reaching for more, what I loved so much this year was like the intimacy that I got to have with my clients, like being a small business again, starting over from scratch. Every single one of my clients, even people who bought digital products, like I know them and I know their stories and I know what's going on in their lives. And gosh, that is like, what a blessing. What a blessing it is to be part of your life. What a blessing it is to be sitting here creating this piece of content that you're listening to right now. Like that feeling is incredible. Is it a $100,000 month or a 2-week trip to Europe? No. But does it still feel like $1 million fucking bucks? Yes. Right? Yes. Knowing that every single morning I put myself first this year. Right? I took really good care of myself this year. We took my first family bike ride this year. Like how much time I spent either walking on trails or riding bike through trails or being outside this year. Like I spent so much time outside enjoying nature and talking to God and talking to whoever I was talking. Like I love to walk and talk and connect. Like to me, that's the point. You know, being able to go outside and be outside and enjoy the beauty of the world. Like to me, that is rich, right? Being rich isn't just a dollar amount in a bank. It's a life. It's the way that you feel. And so this year, it was so true because I don't want to say there were no Eiffel Tower moments this year. That's not true. We went on beautiful vacations. You know, my business, rough numbers this year. I don't have them back from my accountant. If I'm looking from December 1 to November 30th, it's right around $171,000. So right at around $171,000 this year. And there's a part of me that would have been so ashamed and horrified by that at one point in time, right? Like, that's, I guess, more than I made my first year in my business. 2019, I made $118,000. And so there's a part in time that, you know, I would have been so ashamed and embarrassed of those numbers because why are you not at $1 million? Like, you know how to build $1 million business? Like, you know how to use your energy to create. What the fuck? And this year it was just like, yeah, we're getting there. I am building a multi-million-dollar business doing only things that I love, but I'm not in a rush. I'm not in a rush. I'm not just chasing the $1 million. I'm building the foundation of a business that I am fucking obsessed with. I am doing work that I truly, in my heart of my hearts, believes changes the world in such a beautiful way. I care so much about the product I put out into the world. That product is me. So I take care of me every single day. That's the work. Because remember, be obsessed with how it feels. And I want it to feel so fucking good because if it doesn't, I'm not going to do it. If it doesn't, it's not for me. And so in being okay with what at one point in time would have felt like failure, being like, no, but I had an incredible year. I spent so much time doing things that I loved. I connected with the coolest fucking women. I created curriculum out of nowhere that changed people's lives. Like that's how fucking powerful I am. That's what I'm celebrating. That knowing that I am the asset and I can be, do, and have whatever the fuck I want. That's it. Do I think that like we are throwing rocket fuel on this in 2026 and we are having a very different conversation? We're celebrating 24 months of the Uncensored Self? Abso-fucking-lutely. But do I also know that right now I am so proud of this year. I am so proud of myself. I'm so proud of who I've become. I'm so proud of the demons that I faced. I'm so proud of the stories and the bullshit that I didn't listen to. Like, I am so proud. And you know, we never say that. We wait for other people to tell us. I know you guys are going to tell me how proud you are of me. You're going to celebrate me. What do you know? It's 11:11 as I wrap this up. Of course it is, right? I know that you guys are going to say wonderful, lovely things to me because you do all of the time. But this year I'm saying that to me. I'm celebrating me. I'm celebrating the growth. I'm celebrating the milestones. I'm celebrating my clients. I'm celebrating their results. Holy fucking bananas. It's the biggest lesson I learned this year. It's not just about the Eiffel Tower moments. It's in the compound effect of the little moments and loving every single one of those little moments. As I wrap this up for you today, the life of your dreams is closer than you think. That is what I want to share with you. The life of your dreams is closer than you think. You don't need to chase it. You just need to notice it. Because like I said, I have never felt this aligned, this on fire, this convicted, this myself, like this version of me, like she is the fucking best. She's the best she's ever been, and she gets better every day. And I want every single one of you listening to this right now to feel that way too. Whatever your version of your uncensored self, whatever that is for you, I want every day for you to be like, no, I feel like the best fucking version of myself today, and I'm getting better. So as I started this conversation, thank you. Thank you for being here for year one. I believe this is just the beginning. I am documenting this so intentionally because I even have goosebumps. The words aren't even out of my mouth because I know there will be a moment that we look back at this. And I hope you're still here. I hope you're still part of this. I hope you're a client. I hope we're thinking like, God, do you remember that first year? Do you remember? It felt so big and it felt so heavy and it felt so hard, but it also felt so amazing and so incredible and so fun. And that was just the fucking beginning. This is just the beginning. It's just year one. And I'm so glad you're here. Let's create more magic together. See you next week.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the Uncensored Self podcast. If this conversation cracked something open for you, trust that that's the work. And share this episode with a woman in your life who's ready to stop performing and start creating. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe, leave a review. It helps this message reach the women who need it most. Remember, you're the creator. The rules are yours. And your uncensored self, she already knows what to do. Keep leading, keep listening, keep becoming.